Hello everyone, I'm Chester44, also known as Fly, and welcome to this Let's Play of Pillars of Eternity 2, Deadfire. Last episode, we started looking through the town of Dunnage around here, found our way towards a tavern that happened to be located, did a little looking around, a little bit in the shop, and now it's time to go take a look at the next location. Let's see what's going on in Balefire Beacon. I do have a quest that needs us to go into there, but we'll see what we can find. That is good music too. Oh, and that's the end of it. Okay. So.
Sure.
What is this place? To Balefire Tower, eh? Well, we'll take a look at that after we look around down here. You know, I find it interesting that Seraphin hasn't really had anything to talk about in a while. Furrante's study, eh? Interesting. Is this where Furrante is? It is! This isn't where I expected Furrante to be. Ah, Two-Eyed Pim. Hello.
Much ado to you, Casita.
The captain flourishes a sweeping bow. When he bends forward, a golden swollenet slips from his collar to dangle on the end of its chain. He tucks it away as he straightens, but not before you notice the etching on its front side. It marks him as the third chair on the Consuelo me Casita.
A word of advice. Guard your back in Dunnage. You have not yet carved a name for yourself or your crew. Yet you choose to swim in a sea of sharks. Should one take a bite, the Consuelo will not intervene. Elsewise, how might I be of assistance?
Tell me about the Consuelo me Casitas.
Yes, our council of captains.
He tips his head toward the semicircle of elaborately ornate chairs aligned on the other side of the room.
There are 7 seats on the Consuelo, each occupied by a high-ranking captain within the Principi. Seat holders convene to vote on a variety of issues concerning the Principi's well-being. To claim a seat, a captain must have substantial backing and sufficient power, both politically and physically. Furrante, the last Marcheso, holds the highest-ranking seat because the most ships in our entire fleet have pledged loyalty to his flag. As you can guess, the Sea Wolf, Aldis, commands the second most numerous fleet of ships. As such, she is the second chair, and I am the third.
He rolls his head on his neck as if to work out a stiff muscle.
Perhaps you would like to attend the proceedings when the Consuelo next convenes. You have my ear, Casita. Of what
So,
you wish
why
to
do you
discuss
speak like a
today?
Valian? The captain arches a dark brow.
I met Furrante decades ago. Many years I sailed as his first mate before building my own humble fleet.
With an affected shrug, he sweeps a hand to indicate the room.
When in the Principi, do as the Valians do. Unless, of course, you have no care for tradition or the continued sustainability of our way of life, like some filthy new blood.
Is there someone or someplace I should avoid while in Dunnage?
You may have noticed a divide between old blood and the new, by which I mean those who descended from or otherwise hold old Valia in grand esteem, and the varied and often uncouth recruits we have since brought into the fold. I assure you, the latter was supremely by necessity, though perhaps I am ill-equipped to throw stones. As a casita of some repute, you will be most welcome in the king's coffin. But you should watch yourself throughout the Radiant Court.
Watch the Radiant Court, gotcha. I'm not going to ask for the seat. So these are the seats then.
Leave it to me.
Captain Mer Trevisilo is inscribed on the back of the chair. Captain Goldfin Chiara. Oop. Captain Two-Eyed Pim. We've got Captain Mad Morena. Oh, she's one of the captains. Well, we did help her. Captain Brutal Benweth. And Captain Aldis the Sea Wolf. And there we have Captain Furrante. Alright, Furrante. I have news.
Ah, Watcher. Good. You have arrived.
Chin jutting upward, he grants you a winsome smile. His left cheek dimples as the smile spreads to show teeth.
Ahoy there yourself, Captain. What do I be but a pretty bit of man-meat to dangle from a wrist? As easily forgotten as set aside.
Arms akimbo and head askance, Seraphin smirks. Furrante rubs his thumb over his golden swollenette, violent thoughts gliding over his face like dark clouds. Then he smiles, but it's a vicious expression more than a pleasant one.
A little seabird informs me that you have dealt with our mutual problem, the scoundrel Benoit.
His eyes glint as a fierce grin cuts across his face, and his lone dimple deepens.
I hear you have a flair for the dramatic, or should I say, explosive antics? A magnificent way to settle one's disputes indeed. And you truly left Benoit's reputation in pieces.
Thank you.
Gelarde. For this you have my grandest commendation.
You'd have been right amused, you would. Few sights as fine as that hard blowing 3-sheeter getting what's long been doing.
Hands on his hips, Seraphin juts his chest forward, blue fur expanding like a bird's plumage.
You are lacking in so many ways, my former ship hunter, but no one can say you are not entertaining.
Bit true.
I myself would have enjoyed watching you put the scoundrel in his place.
He had it coming, I think.
That he did. Indeed.
Furrante strokes his fingers down the line of his jaw, eyes downcast in thought.
And as promised, I have prepared for you a fine prize.
With a sweep of his arm, he offers you a magnificent cloak. A cloak of protection. Pretty basic, but I guess we could have completed this pretty early.
However, there is another matter of which we must now speak. I must confess to you a bit of a problem has arisen. One which speaks to your expertise with the supernatural. We've sighted the floating hangman that haunts the Deadfire.
I've read accounts of an undead ship that flies a Darkosi flag, yes.
It would seem I have undervalued you, Watcher. I will not mince words, as you undoubtedly know what we are up against. This galleon. What likely remains of the Von Ferrus is a frightful legend. We have been losing ships at sea, Amica, and not to those Valera ship-hunting bastards. I believe the floating hangman may be our culprit. Fortune favors us, as I have procured a survivor from such a recent sinking. You will consider what she has to say.
Head craning abruptly to the side, he barks in loud order.
Come forth, Selenia. Quickly now, or I will run rivers of your lethargic blood.
Hello there. Sun-blistered and raw-boned, the pirate regards you both with a discerning glare. She tongues a chapped bottom lip, but keeps quiet.
Well, spit it out, Selenia, and try not to embarrass me before our guest.
Of course, Captain. It might have pretty hard near the end, but I spit the tail as best as I can.
The pirate touches a spot at the base of her skull and winces. She glances off to the side, eyes black and full of hurt. Furrante sighs and rubs tiredly between his brows.
Go on, Mom. Ready as I'm like to get me.
With a shiver, the pirate turns her black button eyes on you. I'll try not to press you to remember more than we absolutely need. Actually, what happened to you?
Saw my old crew slaughtered me, my best mates, and even a few I hated. They weren't but blood and meat in the end. It branded the back of my eyes that moment. High seas, nothing but blue all around. Then, mist so thick you could taste it. Ships sailed from within. Out of nowhere was a hunt, not for loot, but for bodies. The ship, it looked...
She gropes at her hip, but there's nothing there. Fingers fumbling at the air, she bares her teeth.
rotted. The crew, they were all undead. Couldn't stop them from boarding. Couldn't kill them. Couldn't even fight them in the end.
Tell me about them, the undead.
They were dreadful. Some were clothed, like maybe they'd only recently died. Others weren't more than moving bones. One was different. Her presence was overwhelming. Heavy. Flames burned in the place of her eyes. The crew shambled hard to do her bidding, even the ones who seemed hardly aware. Figured you was the captain, me.
She shrugs, gaze going far away.
There is a flag the floating hangman flies. A flag that once heralded the Fonferus of Old Valia. It belonged to a Darkotsi paladin of some legend, one Lucia Rivan. But Selenia's knowledge is limited in this regard. Let us instead ask her of a subject she may know.
Fair enough. Okay, how were you taken by surprise on the open sea?
Me and my crew were adept. Alert. Always. No. Weren't no one gonna get the jump on us. Was some magic foul. Just sudden like, the winds died, the waters fell flat and the air got heavy. They turned sky and the sea both against us. Then this thick fog roiled up at midday. Without a sound, the Spectre ship
She glides her hand in the air.
skimmed right out. It was too late. We couldn't outsail it.
When did this happen? She ruffles a hand through her short hair and scowls.
Dunno me. Drifted for days, maybe longer. Kept winking in and out after I ran out of drink.
One of mine found her no more than a week ago. Malnourished, dehydrated. The poor girl was scarcely able to speak.
Well, I'm more than able to gabble now, aren't I? Could sail, too. No, you got no reason to keep me.
She flits her hands over the softness of her shirt. Again, her fingers hesitate close to her hip, the fabric crinkled there where a pistol might normally be strapped. A muscle ticks in Furrante's jaw, but he otherwise ignores her.
Perhaps there is something else you wish to ask of our guest before she departs from us.
And how do you survive the attack?
Calling me Craven? Huh, sure, I am.
She rubs the back of her head rough, like she needs it to hurt.
Took a knock-in and I was out for a while. When I came to, they were eating Ganasco, our steward. I dropped a dinghy and rode for it. Don't know why they didn't give chase. Don't much care me.
That'll be all then. Selenia cuts a glance to Furrante for confirmation. When he dismissively waves her away, her black eyes narrow and she raises her chin, defiant. But then he turns his full gaze to her, suddenly seething, and she shrinks in on herself. Fist shaking at her sides, she reluctantly retreats.
She belongs to Aldis, who undoubtedly will come to claim her soon. But that is a problem for another time. One moment, Watcher.
The captain scowls at Selenia's retreating back, a dark anger warming his cheek. Why the secrecy? He cants his head to you in mock surprise.
That much should be obvious, Diveros. I prefer my crews to fear their captains, not a phantasm roaming the seas, hunting to devour their souls. Allow me to cut to the heart of it. Lucia Rivan, whose flag flies atop our spectral ship, was a Darkotsi paladin who died more than 200 years ago. It is my hope that uncovering the details regarding dear Rivan's fate in life may illuminate the nature of her undeath and how to defeat her galleon. Unfortunately, the only soul who could possibly shine more light on our situation lies buried deep within Neketaka. One Isir the Berethian, now well rotted, I presume.
Oh, I've actually spoken with Isair. His brows hoist high up on his forehead.
Meaning what by that last? You were able to read his soul, despite how much time has passed?
Isair was mortally wounded, yet refused to wholly die. Instead, he was reborn as an undead to defend Bereth's faith for all eternity.
God save us from fools who battle with blind trust.
But he shakes his head as if he's already accepted the truth of your words.
A death guard? How fascinating. And terrible. I must of course presume that you've unearthed a promising lead for us. Perhaps you were able to learn about Rivan's whereabouts, of where her spectral ship oft anchors?
Apparently so. Isair tracked Rivan after she had become a death guard. They fought near the Isle of Dusk. The captain stokes his chin, his gaze contemplative.
I can summon to mind no island with such name. Likely it hides now behind another. I will charge my best chroniclers to track our isle through the centuries. I believe you're becoming an invaluable asset to the Principi, and I deeply value each of my assets. You must accept this token of my immense appreciation.
Upright captain's belt, immune to push and pull effects, +1 constitution, and hold fast, grants concentration on combat start. Interesting. Furrante clears his throat. Then he tugs on the frilled cuffs of his sleeves, his posture more rigid than usual.
A matter of a rather delicate nature has arisen. One which I believe could benefit from your, let us say, expertise. An associate of mine is in need of a favor.
He raises his brows pointedly.
A favor that necessitates a great deal of discretion. See to this for me, and I will weight you with a considerable amount of coin.
What exactly would I be doing?
My associate conducts dealings with a group of traders of a sort. The traders are having a bit of trouble with their newest stock.
And who might this associate be?
A wealthy and influential man. What more do you need to know?
And why the need for such discretion?
It involves something of a sensitive topic among the Principi. I'll explain further once I can trust you're fully committed.
Why do I have a feeling where it's about to be revealed that Furrante is a slave trader? You can trust me.
First, swear it. I have your word on pain of death, amica.
Of course.
Buono. Then you're to head to Crooksburg Island, where you'll meet with Master Kua. He runs the biggest slavers' port.
Oh,
in the
no.
Deadfire. However, they've run afoul of the locals. So now, their trade routes are under constant ambush.
Seraphin's mouth falls slightly open. Vertigo tickles the edge of your thoughts as if you were peering over the edge of the world. So the Principi work with slavers.
Excellent goddamned question, Cap.
The Orlan's bald fists shake at his sides.
No, it is my associate who does that dealing.
He pins you with a pointed look.
My opinion on the trade is of little matter. It is legal, unlike many of our own activities.
Since when be the fucking laws of Kith of any goddamn concern of the likes of us?
I'll, handle it.
Flogging fuck.
Seraphin growls, his nostrils flaring above a curled lip and crooked teeth. An ice-cold sliver of loathing and betrayal slides between your ribs and into the space between your lungs. Seraphin turns away and the feeling fades.
Gellarde, I knew I could count on you. Here, I'll mark Crooksburg on your charts.
Pleased, he claps his palms together.
When you get there, speak with Master Kua. Tell him I've sent you, and he'll fill you in on what he needs.
I have a feeling we're gonna need to talk with, Seraphin.
Captain?
Can we speak now? Seraphin glares openly, hands on his hips, and spits at his feet as you approach.
I don't be having a whole lot of rules, Captain Watcher. Really only got the one.
You look upset. I'm listening.
Upset? Upset ain't the first flogging half of it, Captain. I don't slave. Nor be I serving on any cog-swabbing ship that does. Savvy? Do it again, and I shove off.
I haven't been slaving.
You've been helping them though, ain't you? Just as good as doing yourself. As for the Principi, they be my problem to deal with.
I'm sorry, Seraphin. I won't do it again.
Here's hoping you don't.
He sighs, sweeps from a sack at his side, and turns away.
Captain? Ahoy, Captain!
I guess I should have said I don't deal with slavers, but... okay. He's, not happy with me, is he? Surprisingly, it didn't actually oh, there it is. Yep, down, and then I get back up. Okay.
Got it.
Well, I guess we can take a look at Balefire Tower, I suppose. See what's up top here. Isn't there someone up here we're supposed to be looking for?
Why not?
Gusts of wind rise from below with the smell of the beacon's fires. Bird droppings crest over the iron bands of this cage. And this one over here.
Sure.
Rust and blood tinge this iron cage in shades of ochre. I could have sworn we had a task here. Oh, she's at the Radiant Court. My mistake. I thought she was at Balefire. Well, I'm curious, do we have anything else we can talk to him about?
Ado, and how is the sea treating you, Watcher?
I have questions regarding the Principi.
Who better to ask than the first chair and highest rank on the Consuelo, Mescasitas? Ak, what is it you wish to know?
Remind me again who the Principi San Patrina are.
We are a magnificent but largely landless people, so we have come to own the sea. To survive, we must seize prosperity where we can. Hence, we are oft labeled as pirates, smugglers, merchants of illicit trade, or mercenaries. It will not always be so, but it is for now. Ak, what is it you wish to know?
Dunnage is a rather interesting port. Who first cobbled it together?
What matters is not who they were, Casita. Only that we took it from them.
His grin is shark-like, all teeth and violence.
But as you are curious, I will tell you this. The architecture of Balefire Beacon suggests dwarven craftsmanship. My own research into the island upon which I established Dunnage paints these ruins in a picture of blood and agony. Whatever dwarves sought to make their refuge here were exterminated by a crush of Naga tidal waves and great sea monsters all at once. Fortuitously for us, Ondra shelters her loyal sailors more than wayward mountain dwarves.
I see.
Ak, what is it you wish to...
Alright. The captain considers your request for it.
Come,
Okay.
let us share a
I'm
fine
curious to know you
conversation.
better.
Amika, do you know how I have lived so long in this life of piracy?
Good aim and knavish looks. He chuckles, sounding pleasantly surprised. Conspiratorially, he leans close.
It is not by blabbing all of my secrets to anyone who asks.
Noted. Let's discuss
I
what
am
you needed.
listening, Amika. What weighs on your mind in this moment, Casita?
Remind me what we know regarding Riven and Issair.
By all means. I would happily entertain any further questions you may have.
I take it you have a plan.
Indeed, I do. Though I and mine cannot so openly venture into the depths of Neketaka, nor can we commune with the dead. You, Watcher, are adept in both of these areas. Correct. You must search the Temple of Berath on Neketaka's sacred stair. Issair's tomb within it should contain a chronicle for how and where he slayed our paladin, Rivan.
Do we know anything more about her?
By all accounts, our Rivan was a Darkotsi paladin who sailed to the Deadfire in order to safeguard a royal weapon of Old Valia.
The paladins of the Darkotsi were legendary in their time.
A whisper of a smirk flits across her face with the last phrase, though Furrante either doesn't notice it or pays it no attention.
Indeed. She is the epitome of Grand Valia, of magnificence, honor, and duty. Living or undead, she strives still to serve her charge. And yet, we know not why, but a Barathian priest called Issair opposed our Rivan, and fiercely.
I feel like we're going to have to go talk to him anyway, even if we did complete the quest.
They fought to the death. Rivans, to be precise, in this very archipelago. Along with her life, Rivan lost the sword she had sworn to protect. It has, lamentably, remained unfindable since. I believe it may be why she searches the seas yet. One Issair the Barathian, now well rotted, I presume.
Okay. And,
Let us share. I am
what can you
listening,
tell me
Amika.
about the slavers in the Deadfire? A breath hisses from between his teeth.
Amika, please. I must ask you to guard your tongue. We do not condone slavery within the Principi.
He gives you a pointed look.
But I can tell you, their legal operations are based on the island of Crookspur. If you're hunting for slavers, I suggest you look there.
Right.
Prosperity be with you.
We are going to be dealing with them, and I do not care for slavers myself. I was hoping to try and be diplomatic when I said I'd handle it and not just blatantly agree, but I guess, I should have mentioned that I don't care for slavers. Anyway, I think I'm gonna go ahead and end this episode here. A shorter episode, yes, but we only have about 5 minutes left, so we'll take a look at the last part of this island in the next episode. Till then, I am Chester44, also known as Fly. That is Laniara, Palagina, Jolti, Seraphin, and Aloth. This has been a Let's Play of Pillars of Eternity 2, Deadfire, and I shall see you all next time.